So, good morning. Did you get a chance to look at your homework and do your lead gen after class yesterday? Awesome. That's great news. Let me get another one in here. So today I'm Karen Hillman. I'm the TL over at KW Living. And today Danielle McCandless is our speaker, and she's going to be leading us through probably my favorite section of Ignite, which is open houses, working with open houses. So Danielle, before we get started though, why don't you tell us a little bit about you?
Sure. So I'm Danielle McCandless. I've been licensed since 2016. Recently have become the team leader of the Select Ohio team. And I'm just really excited. This is actually my first class I'm teaching. I'm really excited. I love open houses. I don't know about everybody else. But these past few years, with all the craziness of COVID and then the market, I really haven't done very many. So I'm anxious to get back into them. And there's a lot of really good info in here a lot of the pre-open house stuff to kind of get you prepared and
Right.
set you up for success and get as many leads as possible.
There's a lot of different ways to do open houses, right?
There is for sure. So we're going to talk about how to capture leads at open houses, the benefits of open houses, the best practices, how to prepare, prospect, and pursue.
Prepare, prospect, and pursue. Okay. So you want to go to section 7 in your participant guide. Good morning. Section 7. Ugh, I'll try and keep us up with the page numbers.
Perfect.
Go right ahead.
Okay, so 7.3 is going to be our first page. So I'll start out. Gary Keller always has the greatest quotes, I think. So nothing else about your business will have as big of an impact on it as the number of leads you have. It's super true. Like everything we've been talking about is your leads are your business and you need those to succeed. So open houses is a really great, easy way to get leads. But I know like yesterday, we had just talked about the challenges that we have with open houses. So what kind of challenges do you find yourself having with open houses? Yeah.
The biggest one is like 90% of the people that come through the door are.
People already having an agent.
90% have agents.
Mhm.
What else?
They don't want to share their information with you.
Don't want to share information
False information.
or give false information?
Not
Oh,
sharing
wow. I've never
information.
had that before. Wow.
That's what we talked
Getting-
about yesterday, getting people there. So with open houses, the majority of your work isn't actually at the open house. It's all the preparation leading up to your open house.
The preparation.
Yes.
Yeah.
That leads up to it. So by the end of the session, you should be able to have your whole plan together of holding an open house.
We're in lesson 7, everybody.
Yes. So today you want to start thinking about kind of what you want to get out of this, what kind of questions that you may have. If you want to jot them down, if we don't answer them throughout the class, then we can always just follow up at the end and everything. So we'll do a couple of activities. And at the very end, you're going to have your whole plan written out for your next open house that you're going to do. So our number one job is to gain leads. And again, the more leads you have, the more business you have. Your leads, people that you meet at open houses and everything. Some of them do have agents, some of them don't have agents, some of them are just coming by to check out the house and everything. But it's a lot of building the relationship and meeting new people, getting them into your database of command and everything. So as a new agent, it's a great way to get leads. Open houses are fairly easy. They're inexpensive. You're looking for people who are looking to mostly buy, but there's also people that come through that are looking, it could be a neighbor that they're curious about what houses are going for and everything. So you can even get a seller at an open house. But again, the biggest thing is that one-on-one meeting people and just building a relationship and them getting to know who you are.
And you've only got a short time to do it, right? They're only going to be there for maybe 10 minutes, usually 10 minutes, right? Walking through the house. So you got to be very strategic about it.
Yes, for sure. So we did start out day one with the 6 personal perspectives, specifically with removing limiting beliefs. So some of the limiting beliefs with open houses are that you don't have a listing to hold. So if you don't have a listing, you can't hold an open house. That's incorrect. So I'm actually, for myself, Sandy Braun in our office has a listing and she wanted somebody to hold it open. So I'm going to be doing, somebody's doing Saturday and somebody's doing Sunday. We have a huge office of very successful agents. We have a lot of listings and I think
Right.
we're very big in listings. And you can just ask people, if you see, you want to look and see what price point you're interested in, your area that you're interested in, and just reach out to that other agent and ask them if you can hold it open. Sometimes if you're newer, you don't have your own signs, but again, you just need one that has opened. Is there like our office, do they have just
Yes.
generic signs that you can use?
ACAR has them for 8 months each.
Perfect.
Nice.
They have choose from. and that's some description.
ACAR has open house signs for $8 a piece. How about that? Okay,
You can ask your brokerage, or you can even ask the listing agent. If it's already somebody in our office, it's gonna have Keller Williams Living or whatever office we're in, information on there, so you can just put that out in the yard. Another question or limiting belief is that you don't know all the answers to the questions that people have. But again, you want to, that's what a lot of this is gonna be setting up beforehand, doing a lot of the neighborhood. And,
it's okay.
oh, sorry, I'm sorry, pointing. What's in like the neighborhoods and around town and things like that. People, sometimes say that open houses don't work because most people are looking online. Yes, people do look online, but you can use this to your advantage by advertising online that you're having an open house. Invite people to come and see the home in person instead of just online. And then a big one, I think, is sometimes people don't feel that they're safe. We're going to go over this in a lot more detail about safety and everything, buddy systems, and that's going to be a big part of this. I think more so these past few years, we've talked about it a lot more, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's funny too, because it used to be when we did open houses, we would put directional signs with open house at the biggest intersection and then arrows all the way. Now with internet and social media, you don't necessarily, do you want to bring in people off the street that aren't necessarily looking for a house that just want to come through? No. So
Right.
maybe you don't want to put all those signs. And I tell the seller that too, up
Mhm.
front. If you drive around, you're not going to see signs because we're not inviting the public in.
Mhm.
We've done our due diligence to market your home,
Mhm.
right? And all of the people that are looking and the agents that are looking for you are aware of the open house, and they'll be coming as a result of that invitation.
Yes, so you're not like a sitting duck, basically putting
Right.
like a video out there, like announcing, I am sitting at this house by myself from this time to this time. Come and see me.
Right.
But
Have you ever taken a friend or a husband or your mother or anybody with you?
I've done it on showings,
Okay,
not open houses.
Okay.
I do like to buddy up though, like we do
Yeah.
with our team and everything. That's always fun. Or bring in a lender or a title company.
Good idea.
Because they can answer questions.
good
and then
idea.
Always having somebody else there with you, so.
We'll get more into that the safety, right? Or is that now?
Yes. No, that's
Okay.
that's in a little while,
Right.
actually. So sometimes there's circumstances where you don't necessarily open it or have an open house. Sometimes the seller doesn't want to have an open house. Sometimes they don't feel that they want people they don't know just coming into their house. They're more comfortable with just someone scheduling a showing and coming in that way.
Right.
Some houses aren't very showable. The sellers don't want to declutter. They're kind of messy and it just doesn't show very nice. You don't want to necessarily invite somebody. On the day when there's photos, hopefully that's like their biggest day of like cleaning, decluttering. And then, I mean, when you have people living in a house, sometimes it's hard. You don't want to invite them in when they have stuff everywhere. It's a little overwhelming. You know, a lot of buyers can't look past other people's stuff when they're looking at houses. So, or sometimes like what we just had recently, sometimes there's not enough time to do an open house. I feel like for a while, you didn't even have enough time to like print out your brochures, let alone have the open house by the weekend. You already had so many. Yeah. there's-
Offers before they even saw it, right?
Right.
Yeah.
I did a couple and I was like, well, just want to let you know, we do have like 5 offers in on this house, but if you're interested, you can put yours in as well. And then also, during the pandemic, I mean, we didn't do anything. We did a lot of just like online tours and things like that. And through everything, I mean, I feel like we've gotten so much better, but there's a lot of notes in here. Just continually keep an eye on like all the guidelines of everything and what the sellers want. If they prefer people to have masks, to wear them, sanitize before they come in, removing shoes, you always just want to check with the sellers and everything of what they want to have for their house. All right, so we are on 7.3. So our 2 goals for having an open house is obviously to sell the house and to generate leads. So at the bottom of the page, it actually gives us the answers of who benefits from the open houses. So for number 1, the sellers, you're going to be giving them like more opportunity for people to come in to take a look. You get a lot more exposure of the home. For the buyers,
Well, let's go back to the sellers. Let's talk a
Okay.
little bit more about that. What are some other advantages to the seller of having an open house? Michael Ann? Less individual showings? Potentially, yeah, that makes sense. What
easier on the
else?
schedule.
Danny?
If you have the easy come in and have a buyer, that suitable buyer.
Absolutely. What else? Anybody at Legacy or
Feedback.
feedback? Yes, that's great. Yep. Will you maybe inspire multiple offers?
That sense of urgency when there's a lot of people there at once.
So, yeah, kind of drive the price up. Anybody ever bid on an item on eBay and you're watching to see what somebody else, did somebody else bid? So it got like that, didn't it? I mean, it did. When you have an open house, it kind of builds this excitement.
Mhm,
There's an energy when you walk in the house, right? Think about what is that energy in that house too, when you're
Mhm.
preparing.
yes. For the buyers, really no obligation, like they feel like they can kind of just go and check out the house and everything. Even when before I was in real estate and before we were selling our condo and everything, I used to love just going to open houses and just like, oh, there's one that's open, let's go and check it
Yeah.
out. Not even like to see the house itself, but like, I don't know, I'm nosy. I like to see people's style, I guess. It's like how they decorate and things like that.
What else for the buyers? What are other advantages to the buyer?
They don't have to schedule it with their agent and do A, B, C, they can just go.
They can just go. They don't have to wait. They often bring the kids.
Yes.
They bring the kids, but buyers, you do end up sometimes, especially in this seller's market, we saw people coming in unrepresented, right? To our open houses because they felt they could get a better deal and had a better opportunity to have their offer accepted if they had the listing agent write it. Did you see that? Yeah, I did too. I saw that too. It happened quite a lot.
Mhm. Yeah.
Pardon me? I didn't do it, but yeah, a lot of them did. Yeah,
I feel like you have the opportunity for first-time home buyers. They're not necessarily pre-approved or anything, because they don't really even know the process. They're just out. They're like, okay, we want to buy a house. But then that's a really great opportunity to start that conversation and educate them on the
right.
process of everything.
What is it called if you represent the seller and the buyer? Dual agency. That's right. There's another way to do it. Unrepresented buyer or unrepresented seller. And you could still write the offer if they're an unrepresented buyer, but there's a form for that too.
Mhm.
Sorry, that was a little aside.
No,
there.
it's okay. Yeah, I've had that recently. And you just explained that basically, I mean, it's really hard to work for both of them, but That's why we have forms for everything.
That might be a limiting belief.
Well, true. Well, not
So,
necessarily hard, but you do have to explain to your clients that you
Yeah.
are representing both
absolutely,
clients there.
because you can provide the same information. The comps are available. They're public. They can do a lot of them on their own. You just can't divulge any confidential information for the client that you represent, whether it's the buyer or the seller.
I have a question on that.
Yes,
I'm
Leah.
thinking right now, that's so funny. So as far as when you say don't divulge any information, I know what you mean when you say that, but can you go into a little bit more detail about specific, just maybe a few things that
Yeah, so this is actually gonna be talked about in another section. I just kind of touched on it at open houses because it does happen more often when you're having an open house that somebody's gonna come through and say, hey, I want to write an offer. So, but yeah, so and we can connect on that too. Yep, thank you.
The neighbors, like I said, a lot of neighbors just kind of come over, see what's going on. And if they're seeing the foot traffic and what their house is up for sale for, they might get the wheels turning a little bit and they might want to think about selling their house.
I love the idea of opening your open house an hour before and put a note in everybody's door in the
Mhm.
neighborhood that the sellers would love to have you stop in and see the house. Because often the people that live in the neighborhood know somebody that wants to live in the neighborhood too.
Yes, they
Yeah.
usually have a friend that they want. to move in.
100%.
And that's a great way too. You can ask those people what they love about the neighborhood. You take notes and see
Right.
why they live there. Why would other people want to live there? So again, building that relationship and getting information about the neighborhood from them. And then you as the agent obviously will benefit. You capture leads for potential buyers and sellers, future buyers and sellers. You're connecting with the neighbor, like everyone in the neighborhood. You're also putting your sign, if your name's on your sign throughout the neighborhood, they're seeing that, like kind of advertising. And then also, it's just a good way, the more you are doing them and practicing like your conversations, it's like scripts and role playing for when you're making phone calls. It's the same thing when you are in an open house.
Yep.
Was it yesterday when we talked about like when somebody, you go and you're just kind of standing in the kitchen and they're like, if you could just sign in, or if you have any questions, let me know. Like, get out there and talk to the people, let them get to know you. And I feel like people want to work with you the more they know you and
Trust you.
trust you and like
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
Yes. So
Yeah.
it's a great way.
And that for you, as if you represent a buyer who might be interested in that house, how does it benefit you? How does an open house benefit you and your buyer?
You can go and get in relationship with the seller's agent, you know.
Yep.
Go and you just take your buyer out. Very rarely do I let them go without me representing them.
Okay. You don't let them go without you being there with them, or you prefer they don't? Right? Right.
They have- Not.
Yeah. That's a good point. So you do, if you're sending a buyer, you need to send an email with your
Mhm.
client's name on it so that you have procuring cause, right? Send an email to the listing agent, my buyers. Danielle
Yes.
McCandless is going to be coming through the open house today. Absolutely,
Yes.
let them know.
And I
So that
just,
doesn't happen.
yeah, I have a conversation with like my buyers and stuff. And it's not that you can't go to open houses or anything, just let me know if you're going. So like you send an email to that other agent. I've had where someone has like basically poached your client, but then most of the time when I send an email, they're like, oh, absolutely, we always honor. But you just don't want to be, I guess, too careful because there
Yeah.
are a few.
Yeah.
Not so great agents out there, as we all know, but.
So an open house is really a dual purpose,
Mhm.
right? You're looking for the best terms, the best price for your seller. But it's also a lead generation opportunity, 100%. That's why you have a sign-in sheet there and you want everybody to sign in. Most of the time you find out that the people that said that they have an agent don't know the name of their agent. They don't know the last name. They don't know the company they're with. And that gives you an opportunity to kind of dig into that a little bit more.
Yes, for sure. I say when they're working with an agent, I've had numerous times.
Yeah.
Yes, they are, but they don't know who they are.
Yeah.
Like, oh, that's great. You have a great relationship with her.
Yep. Yeah, they
Mhm.
might think that they have to be represented by an agent when you ask them that question. So ask questions, seek to understand.
Yes, for sure. So we're gonna go to 7.4. This one actually isn't marked in the book, but the benefits of open houses. So what do you think are some of the benefits of an open house?
We talked about some of them,
Yep.
yeah.
Yes, exactly.
That's a good one.
Yes,
Not
that's a
paying a
very good one.
referral fee for the lead that you get from the open house.
Mhm.
They've already raised their hand. I'm looking. Yep.
Mhm.
Good.
Yes. So, let's see,
7.4.
One of the primary benefits is it's relatively inexpensive to host. I mean, you really don't have to spend any money. It's more of your time. I mean, sometimes if you do like a theme or something, a lot of times people like to have cookies out or waters and things like that. You can also, I know a lot of people team up with title agency and lenders and stuff, and a lot of times they kind of help you with that and everything, but it's more of a time investment.
We hear a lot from professional coaches to create an event. Create
Mhm.
some excitement around your open house. So like Tom Ferry, Jeff Glover, I know Ben Kinney just had a conference in Phoenix, and they all talked about maybe you bring in a food truck, maybe you have balloons on the mailbox, maybe you bake a pie or you have cookies, you bring attention to the house. You make sure that that open house sign is in the yard early in the week so people know when, because people don't they drive by houses before they say, a lot of times they'll drive by it first. So you want to really draw attention.
In Bold, a couple years ago, they were talked about the woman, she always did like a taco truck. And
Taco truck.
invited like the neighbors, and then the neighbors invited their friends. I agree, that one is expensive, so that doesn't really fall under the inexpensive. But again, I think this was like a neighborhood that was like very sought after, everybody wanted their friends. And her biggest thing that she said too, isn't necessarily bringing people in, but other people seeing what she does for her sellers too. So people are always watching. So again, getting future buyers, future sellers and everything like that. So prospecting tool, again, you're just going to be meeting a lot of people, hopefully, buyers, sellers, other agents too, that come through. I mean, I've been at open houses where, like Jenny said, where the agent has their clients, which is nice, and they give you their card and everything, and you can build a relationship with them. It's always nice to build relationships with other agents. It makes
Oh, yes.
deals go so nice and smooth when everybody gets along. Like,
Yeah.
like everybody plays nice in the sandbox instead of like trying to be like, I don't know, mean. A high ROI. Does everybody know what ROI, return on investments? So again, preparing for the open house and all that legwork beforehand is going to help pay off when you actually have like the hour, 2 hours that you spend at the open house. So, and then having qualified leads. So again, a lot of the people that are coming in, they're already interested. You know that they're coming in there to look at the house. And if that's not the house necessarily for them, hopefully you can have the opportunity to help them find a house that is.
Remember in MREA, it talks about like the minimum ROI for every listing that you take should be 2 buyers, right? So when you have an open house, you exponentially increase the opportunity to find more buyers. So it is a great prospecting tool. It's a great return on your investment. So do think about that. I've had a lot of people, mostly experienced agents, that will say that they don't do open houses for some reason or another, and that's fine. Maybe they don't need to in the whatever area that they are focusing on. But my personal experience has always been good with open houses. I've sold houses at open houses. I've had buyers, I've gotten offers from buyers through open houses. So it makes a big, it can be the difference between the average days on market that is the average and
Mhm.
getting it sold quicker by just opening the doors and inviting people in. Remember that, who knows that house better than anybody? What agent? The buyer's agent or you? If you're the listing agent, who knows that house better? You do. That's right. You're the listing agent, so you can tell that story much better.
Mhm. I feel like open houses, again, it's like everything we learn lately is always going back to basics. And when Mike Zinicola, so he's part of the E and the Z for the Easy Referral Network. Amazing agent. When he first started out, he did 2 at least open houses a week, every single week. And that's how he built his business. I
Love that.
mean, he,
Yeah.
if he didn't have one, he found one. And
Mhm.
sometimes he even did
Mhm.
multiples on like a same day or something.
Mhm.
So just reach out to people, find within the office, different open houses, and just stay consistent, I think is the biggest thing.
Mhm.
Daniel and
Anybody-
Karen, could I jump in with a quick tip?
Please, yeah.
So maybe your office Facebook group isn't all that active, or the people that have listings don't respond on there. One way that you can prospect for open houses is filtering. So you can look at your office's new listings on the MLS, search by office, search new listings, what's come on in the last couple of days. Oh, we've had 15 new listings come on, and you can personally call that agent, say, hey, I saw that you've got that new listing. Because a lot of our busier agents aren't necessarily at a place where they personally want to hold the open houses. So if you're a newer agent that's getting started that doesn't have the listing yourself, hop on the MLS. What are the newest listings that our brokerage has had go live in the last few days? Or what's one that sat for a little while that maybe could use some rejuvenated attention, and go to them rather than just saying like, hey, if anybody ever needs help, give me a call. You can actually find what's new and get after it. That's what I did when I first got started.
Awesome. Yeah, be purposeful. During COVID, I was doing virtual open houses and they weren't my listings. I would call up the listing agent and say, hey, I love that house. I would love to find a buyer for that house. May I have your permission, the seller's permission, to schedule an appointment, tour the house, do a FaceTime live open house, and I would let my people know. I'd let everybody know on my social media that I was going to be having it and what time I would be there. The virtual open house would be on this day at this time.
Yes. Awesome. Does anybody have any questions or ahas so far? Anything? Okay, return on investment.
Return on investment. Mhm.
The guy in Florida.
Speak up.
Jack, his name is Jack. The guy in Florida, his name is Jack. I can't remember his last name. He's like a mega agent in Florida. He literally builds his business on open houses alone, and he puts like 100 signs around the neighborhood and in the front yard. And his open house always has a ton of attention. He has created that event, like you were saying. That's a ton of signs.
Yep, that's a strategy, right?
But it works.
Yeah,
Works.
works for him in that neighborhood.
Yeah.
It's going to matter who the
Yeah.
client is, where the house is, what's your value proposition? What are you known for? What's your brand, right?
Mhm. So we talked about benefits of an open house. Now we're gonna go over the best practices of an open house. Are we gonna go over each one of these and then we'll break out?
Yep.
Okay. So we are on 7.5.
Page 7.5.
So they have everything kind of listed there, the open house best practices. We went over the 6 personal perspectives, like the E to P, the entrepreneurial to
Purposeful.
purposeful. And your mindset and everything. So before your open house, you want to make sure you're setting like your goals for the open house. Are you trying to add to your database? Are you trying to set your appointments? 6 people to your database and like 2 appointments or something. You want to have achievable goals, but you also want to make sure that like they're attainable, but you have to like push and work for them. So it's not something that's just going to be handed to you, that you are going to have to go out there and work and do your prep work prior to everything.
Some other, oh, are-
The setting goals.
good. So, yeah, so in the goals, when you're thinking about and planning for your open house, if you're expecting a lot of people to show up for your open house, you know that this is an attractive house, it photographed well, you're getting lots of calls on it. You might want to think about and kind of paying it forward to the new agents in your office, call them up and say, hey, I have a shadow opportunity for you. I'm going to hold an open house. I just did this. Sarah was so kind to come and help me out over the weekend. Invite somebody to come and shadow you, to learn from you, to learn what you do, how you prepare, and pay that forward. And then you've got help. Because if you've got 13 families or even 3 families at a time or 2 in the house, it's very difficult for you to build rapport with everybody. So if you've got somebody there that can help people get signed in and so forth, that would be, I would say, a best practice.
Yes, definitely. You don't want to miss anybody because you don't want to ignore anybody or like
Right.
move away from your conversation with them. But when other people are coming in, you'll have that other person there to kind of help guide them, get the information and
Yeah.
help you out a lot. Picking a house is obviously a crucial step in open houses. So they say not more than 3 turns off of a major road. And then you want to make sure that you're getting familiar with the neighborhood, an area that you are comfortable with and know. And then it doesn't, I feel like everybody wants like that $800,000 house or something, but I feel like there's more of a sweet spot in like that, maybe like $175 to $300 range or something that's more, that's been my experience. So it doesn't have to be the least expensive. It doesn't have to be the most expensive. Just a house that, you know, like Karen said, it's going to show really well. There's been a lot of interest in it. It's a neighborhood that you know of that is popular, that people want to come to.
That you want
And
to
then-
work in an area
Yes.
that you want to work in. You want to find buyers in that neighborhood you want to work with. So even if there isn't a home that's for sale, if you have a buyer that's looking in a specific neighborhood, you can send out a letter to every neighbor on that street and say, I've got a buyer that's interested in your neighborhood. Are you interested in selling?
Mhm. Is there somewhere you like to go? Like there's a cute coffee shop like on the corner that you can walk to, or a park in the neighborhood, all these little things that maybe you think about that you would want in a neighborhood, someone else probably would too. What other things do you think that would be good to, when you're picking a home, what kind of things?
Is on market.
Yes.
Couple experiences where, and there's like, it's been on the market for 1 day and there's so much traffic, like I do the same preparation every time. And one time it was like 25 days on market, and even though they had a price reduction recently, crickets.
Mm,
It was tricky.
mhm. I know I feel like a lot of the timing on market, time of day of the week, where the house is, there's all like these little things you have to
Caveats you have
think.
to think about. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. We're doing the activity now. Or are we still working on that? Are we still working on the
Yep. You
bubble?
want to go through all of them first?
Yep.
Okay.
Let's do it.
So prepare and practice. So again, it's just like scripts for when you call people. So you can kind of prepare before you go. You want to know where the grocery stores are, where the freeway is, if there's a new Amazon building that's going to be opening up and bringing jobs.
What schools are walking distance from that house?
Mhm. There's probably questions. I know a lot of people aren't super comfortable like with lender questions. It's always great to either have the lender information there, or sometimes they have like a little handout, or even bring a lender with you to answer questions. I always say for everything, basically, that isn't my area of expertise. I can point you in the right direction. That's sure I can answer some of the questions, but especially if you're a first-time home buyer, I can do the process. But when it comes to getting a loan and everything like that, you want to talk to a lender and get all the specifics on that. You want to have some form of sign-in. Again, I know we've like run into problems, like if you just put a thing there and say, okay, if you could just put your information. Sometimes people just put their name, sometimes they don't want to give their email address or their phone number, anything like that. I like to say it's for safety reasons, that you want to keep track of who is coming in the house for the sellers.
The
There's-
seller requires me to keep a list of who's coming into the house.
Mhm.
I just kind of rush around and say, you know, this tells the seller that I'm working. Show
Yes,
Mhm.
absolutely. Yep.
More willing to sign. it.
So she said, Janice said with COVID, it's also a way to track and trace, let people know if there's been an exposure.
Mhm. Were you gonna say something, Leah?
I just wanted to know, would you ask for ID for safety reasons or just not really? Maybe, I mean, if you were kind of, is that something that people do or have done?
You can, I mean, there's different ways people do, there's things that people do that I don't necessarily do, asking for AD. Or even for open houses, I know a lot of people sometimes only let one person in at a time and they take them around the house. I don't do that, but again, it all depends on what you want to do, what your sellers want. Mhm.
This is a very touchy subject, like, what about like people with carries?
So people who have, there are, I think, quite a few people that have conceal and carry.
Well, it's not a law anymore in Ohio, so
So
I
I
don't
know
know
there's
how we would
agents
know,
that
yeah.
have it. Are you talking about the people,
Are you-
like the
yeah.
buyers or the agents themselves?
Like, well, like even like, still carry, like, is that something to talk to the home buyer about? Is that?
I've never brought it up. Yeah.
Right.
If it's concealed, you won't know if somebody's carrying or not, but you can carry legally in Ohio without a concealed carry license now.
I know a lot of agents that do for showings, especially like investment properties and stuff like
Oh,
that.
yeah.
A lot.
That's why.
Yeah, just not. So what kind of questions do you get or think that you would get from people coming through an open house?
Kind of questions.
I was getting, you know, like questions about the house. Does the fireplace work? Is it gas or what? That's a big one.
Fireplace.
Yeah.
You know, you need to know
Where's the
all that
property
stuff.
line? Yeah. Yes, yeah, you know, you can go on the auditor's site and usually they have a little map with the shape of the property. Print that out, put it on the
Mhm.
table. So on your, remember that on your Home Snap app, if you scroll down, it has a ping, there's a little red dot. So no matter where you're standing on the property, if you're walking towards the back, it follows you. So it kind of helps you find those property lines based on the auditor site. It's not going to be 100%, you know, on the money, but it's darn close, I found.
Mhm.
I've done that many times.
Yes.
What else? Yeah. What else do they ask you about? Property taxes? Yep, yep. How many, do you have any offers?
Yes.
Do they
Yeah,
ask
well,
that? Yeah. Yep,
Like different disclosures, extra information, they give them themselves,
Mhm.
updates.
absolutely.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yes, everybody,
Hmm.
yes.
Yeah.
List of updates, when the furnace, air conditioner, roof, appliances, everything, because yes, a lot of people want to know that one.
average
Yes.
utilities. Good, yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
Wow, yeah.
Mhm.
You requested 6 months of electric bills. That's great. That's great. Don't forget, the more information you provide that you have available and that you provide, the more comfortable the buyer is going to be about that house. They feel like you're forthcoming, the agent as well. So one of the things you might consider doing is printing tent cards that have information about the roof and the HVAC, about the HOA fee, about any restrictions that might be on the property. If it's granite in a bathroom, sometimes people don't know the difference between marble and granite and Corian or whatever it might be, but point out the highlights, 23-foot vaulted ceiling in the foyer, point out the highlights, newly refinished wood floors. Make sure that you help them get the information that they're thinking about by just putting out a placard somewhere or a little tent card with what's going on in the house.
Mhm.
One-time homeowner, easy for me to say.
You can also use, like if you bring an iPad or something, command
Mm,
to sign people in, and then also encourage them to download your app. Because they have to put their information in, and then as soon as they download that, then you already have their information and it's put into command as well.
Do you do that?
I have not, but
Okay.
I'm
Has
learning
anybody
along
done
with
that?
everybody here, so,
Go ahead, put them right in the command while you're there.
yeah, it's a great idea.
If you have the time to do that, that's a great idea. Save you
Mhm.
some time later.
And usually when you get your like big wave of people, and then you can put them in after that, or I like the downloading of the app. I'm gonna use that this weekend. Did you have something? Oh,
Oh, I did?
perfect.
Okay, all right, we're gonna do the activity, or are we still working on the bubbles?
Should we do the time and theme and then,
Yep,
or
time
in
and theme.
stats, and then we'll save
Okay,
safety.
okay.
All right, so we'll do picking a time and a theme. Again, picking the time is really big. You want to pay attention to Browns games. I was gonna say Browns game, but not everybody likes Browns, so yeah, picking the time around the games, or if there's other games on and it's the home is occupied,
Baseball,
leave the TV on, so because everybody wants to know the scores, or you can make a theme around sports.
holidays, other culture holidays, think about
Mhm.
that too. What's on the calendar?
Mhm.
Remove the restrictions that will keep people away.
Yes. I know you may not necessarily want to do like an open house on Mother's Day, because chances are everyone's visiting their moms.
Right.
What about like themes? I've done like some little things where like for Halloween, like it's getting
Have
close to Halloween, having like a bowl of Halloween candy or something like that. I haven't gone super crazy, but I know other people do. Anybody do like themed open houses at all? Yeah.
I was happy hour, but lunch mimosas.
Yeah.
That's
I
nice.
think
Brunch, mimosas, wine. like the
Twilights.
Twilight
Those-
open
yeah,
house,
those are-
yeah. Summertime, they're
Mhm.
lovely, right?
Yes.
A theme for Halloween.
Mhm.
Lovely.
Yeah, I know, along with games, Saturdays seem to be a big day for sports for kids, I think. Want to kind of be careful around that a little bit. And, church, a lot, if we have that morning church time, so I try to do mine. I do mine for 2 hours. I know sometimes it feels like an hour's not enough. You do get like waves for sure of people coming in and out. They kind of definitely at the beginning and definitely at the end and then sprinkled throughout, but
Mhm.
you try and get as many people as you can with the different times. But I haven't done a Twilight one, but I love that idea.
Mhm.
Catching them after work on the way home and everything. And then also check and see if there's other open houses in around, kind of do at the same time as them. So if there are already people out, they're gonna usually hit them all and see what's going on if there's other ones in the neighborhood.
One really idea that I thought was great actually, is especially if you're gonna do an open house for a house that's been on the market. I think the example was 23 days or something like that. Look and see if there are other houses in the neighborhood that are on the market. Call those agents and say, hey, let's all promote the open houses at the same time. And then we will get a bigger turnout for our open houses. And if you do that, you can time if you're going to do a price reduction, time it just before, because then your listing's going to pop up to the top. And then get more people there,
Mhm.
especially for the one that's 23 days on the market and probably going to be less expensive than the other houses on the
Mhm.
street.
Yes. Make sure you know your stats. Again, you can, like, you're not really supposed to say like, this is a really great school, like, but if you print out like something from that you Google of like, was it Trend Graphics or of like the schools and everything, have information of that, stores, if there's activities that the town does, like in Hudson, like every weekend they do the farmer's market on Saturdays is good to know.
Neighborhood block parties.
Yes.
Make sure you include all of that stuff.
What kind of recreation is nearby? If the restaurants is huge. So, and then also HOA information, that's always a big one too. And we kind of touched on that, restrictions, things like that. Okay, I think, do you want to?
All right, let's do the activity. So on page 7.5, we talked a lot about best practices. There are many others. Let's break into our groups and we're gonna go 5 minutes. Do we have a timekeeper? Or am I doing that here? Okay, 5 minutes. We'll start now and we'll be back here at about 8 minutes till. You're doing page 7.5, best practices for open houses.
Just
Just brainstorm
brainstorming.
and write them down. They're gonna be different for your market
Oh,
and your area. Good.
yeah, you're
Good.
good.
I'm seeing something. I gotta cut my mic on for a minute.
Just wanted to make sure.
Okay, we're back. All right, 1, 2, 3. Shh. Good job. Thank you.
All right, so we have a couple people that want to share their ideas that they came up with.
Something unique that you came up with, we're gonna talk about?
Yes.
I do a Facebook Live when I first use as quick a Facebook Live.
Facebook Live.
I start on the outside and I give a before on the outside, around the outside and inside. For the people who can't be there in person, or, maybe they're out of town.
So you get there early, do a Facebook Live and then start your open house.
Or during the middle, but
Or
kind of.
If it's slow. Yeah, great idea. What else?
Perfect.
Another idea?
Door knock the neighbors or send flyers, whatever to the neighbors to get them to come.
Mhm.
Door knock or flyers to neighbors.
Anybody over here?
I think one of the things that we heard was, just making sure we have answers to the most commonly asked questions, something that is just flat out available to few people when they come there.
Mhm.
All right.
Elevates or legacy? Do you guys have anything?
We talked a little bit about the merit of the Twilight open house, particularly in football season and timing it when people were, so we hit on that. And also the value of doing some sort of giveaway, whether it's everyone, whether it's cookies or whether it's a goodie bag or whether everyone who signs in is entered for a chance to win whatever, something that would bring the fence, someone who's sitting on the fence saying, oh, I'll come, that the little extra something can go a long way.
Starbucks gift card or something. Everybody has a Starbucks gift.
How about you, Elevate?
Oh, hello. Okay, so we talked about some Twilight open houses. We're doing one this week actually, because it's an owner that has big dogs that they have to get out every time that there's a showing. So we're actually doing several open houses through the weekend, hoping that we'll give chunks of time for people to go see the house rather than setting multiple showings. And then we talked about getting your lender to come to the open house with you, because it's kind of like a home run. So if you do have a new buyer, you can get them pre-approved right there and then, and it's kind of a good relationship. And what else did we talk about? We talked about pulling comps for the properties and ahead of time. So if that house didn't work out for a certain lead, maybe there's another house in the same neighborhood. Just making sure that you are knowledgeable on, the house and the area and everything.
Excellent.
Awesome.
Okay, thank you.
So there was one more in that group that we saved of safety, because it's a really big one. So on the next page, actually, the open house safety. So
7.6.
yeah. So your safety is most important. And I am a firm believer in trusting your gut instinct. Like you kind of, if something's going on. I love the buddy system. It's helpful to have someone else there, but then it's also for your safety to have someone else there with you, another agent. I actually have my son and husband, they've come through a couple times on different open houses that I've been at, just to check in on me, see what's going on too. arrive early, you want to kind of check all the doors and everything. I usually just have the one main door open. When people start coming in and everything, a lot of times they open the back door because they're going in the backyard and everything. But I like to just have one entrance, so there's not people coming in like scaring you from behind. Park on the street. So if you need to get out, you're not blocked in. Like if you're in a neighborhood where there's not any other houses and you pull in the driveway or something, sometimes they can block you in. And I know it's horrible to have to like think like this, but you do.
Be smart.
Yes, just be cautious. We talked about checking all the doors, entrance and exits. Have your phone fully charged for a few reasons. You can answer them on command on your phone or your app, but then also if you need to make a phone call. I know like on your smartphone, you can double tap like the button on the side, which can do like an emergency number. And then I was talking, I'm sure, what is the bracelet that Carly has again?
You talking about 401?
I know, we talked
Oh,
about.
yeah,
talked to us
she
about that.
does have some kind of a bracelet that kind of gives her, it's like a GPS, right?
So if something makes you uncomfortable, you can basically, it's just a bracelet and you can like press a little button on it and someone will call you like in your favorite contacts that you have on there. So like my husband can call and just be like, are you okay? Something going on? It could be another agent. I think if you hit it like a couple of times, it alerts like the police or something, but just to be extra cautious.
I do. I have taken pictures of people because I have my phone in my hand all the time. They don't know you're taking a picture. I have taken pictures of people. Another thing that I do, is, we're required to let customers who are coming through the house know if there is video and
Mhm.
audio. Like if you're being recorded or you have a Ring doorbell. It says in our listing agreement also that we have to let people know if those things are there. I've decided that even if they're not there, I'm putting a sign up that says this home has video surveillance. I put it on the second floor, the first floor, and right in the window at the front door, if there is one. So that people are just on their best behavior. I had a listing in, it was out in North Ridgeville, and it was the house was vacant. So we literally they had video in the house that was shining to the back patio, and we saw people come up to the back of the house and they're looking, in the windows, through the windows. And so we knew that was happening. So we put a sign on the back patio window that said, this is private property, and smile, you're on candid camera. So we can see you.
Yeah.
So let people know that, just keep them on their toes.
Yes. Keeping honest people honest.
Keep people honest. That's right.
Yes. Make sure all the lights are turned on when you come, just make sure it's nice and bright in there. You're also checking for COVID guidelines and everything. I know some people, like we said before, walk them through the home. I don't necessarily do that. I kind of feel like sometimes when there's too many people, and I don't know, some people, if they come to an open house and they don't want people like hovering over them, kind of when they're looking at things. But if you do that, or also on showings, unless it's somebody I've been working with for a while and I know them, I always have them walk in front of me. Like I said, like, you don't walk down the basement stairs first or something. Like I always open the door and I'm like, after you, not like I'm scared, but like just to let them go. Instead of watching one too many Criminal Minds, I don't need to be pushed down the stairs or
Dexter.
taken. So
No.
just thinking ahead of just our
Absolutely.
safety and
Be smart.
everything. Yes. What other things can anybody think of that would help you be safe?
Safety.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Right.
Yes. That's good too, because I feel like sometimes if you're hanging in the kitchen's like in the back of the house. So
Right,
by the time
right.
you are missing people coming in anyways, and you're always like, you think you hear the door and kind of watching.
Yep.
But yeah, if you
Stay by the front door. If you've got 10 cards out, you've got your residential property disclosure there, you've told the seller to put away get their valuables out of the house, their medications and that sort of thing. If you don't have to worry about that stuff, stay by the door if you're alone, okay?
Even if you need somewhere.
Don't go in the
There are some
basement,
creepy
Dora
basements.
says. Yeah, it depends on the house,
It
right?
depends on the house. So yes,
Yeah.
I've been in some creepy basements, but if
What
it's
else?
a vacant house, you can just bring like a little card table or something and have all your stuff up there.
We recently had a safety class here at KW Living and, Donna and David Toth brought in, they have a little thing that looks like a flashlight
I got one.
and they always carry it with it. Do you have it with you? I'd love to show it. They always have that in their hand, the flashlight, because you need it if you're looking, you're trying to find a serial number on the HVAC, or you want to try to figure out how old the water heater is, carry that flashlight. And
And it's
it's,
a taser.
it is a flashlight, but it's also a taser,
Nice.
right? So this is nice. You just have it in your hand. You put your keys on it. Nobody would know the difference,
Mhm.
right? It might be just enough to get somebody to back off if you need to. What am I doing?
You have to turn it on.
Okay,
Oh, geez.
How close?
Hopefully not to touch them.
I
Let's
think you
not
have to
find out.
touch them, right, with it? Okay,
Yeah, let's not try this out.
all right, thank you very much. Yeah, so it is dual purpose. We will shock you and it will provide light if you need it.
They asked you a question.
Oh, question, what's the name of it, please?
What's it called?
What's it
Guard
called?
dog.
Guard dog.
I didn't put prompts, I want to use it as a flashlight, let's say I'm looking at a.
Yep.
Mhm.
The manufacturer, the name of it is Guard Dog. Perfect.
I'm gonna write that down.
Thank
So,
you. Guard Dog. All right, what other safety? It's on Amazon too. What other safety ideas that we have? Do we have? Mark? Are you there? I want to see him. It's probably on another screen. Okay, Yatra, anything to share? Safety ideas?
Yes, Jen, you want to share your shoe one? You got a good one.
Yeah, I ask all of the clients that come into the home to take their shoes off at the front door. So I know who's upstairs, who's downstairs, kind of get a good head count. It gives me a little rough number.
that's a
So
good
that way,
idea.
if there's any shoes left, she knows that there's still people in the house.
So if everybody
Okay.
takes their shoes off and you think everybody's gone because you don't hear anybody, but there's still a pair of shoes by the door, there's somebody somewhere in the house. So
Right?
That's a good idea.
Very good, very good. Thank you for sharing that. Anybody else? Safety tips for an open house? Buy pepper spray. Okay,
Mhm.
all right, thank you. Okay.
Awesome. All right, we are going to go to prepare, prospect, and pursue on page 7.7. And again, another really great Gary Keller quote. The difference between big and really big is how you manage your time and focus. I feel like that's always a big thing, time management and
In everything we do, right?
Everything.
Everything we do, that's true.
yes, so we're gonna break these down one by one. So number one, actually, it's on 7.8.
7.9.
And 7.9.
Yep.
Actually, all these other pages, they have really great like check boxes of just lists of things to do. Preparing, so two big things, preparing your mindset, just like tell yourself, I'm a big believer in like putting positivity out into the, like, say before, I'm gonna have so many people at this open house and nobody's gonna have an agent and they're all gonna want to work with me.
Visualization.
That's right.
Yes, love it.
And then just know all of your information going into it and practice conversations with people. And I mean, role play with somebody at your house, like ask me questions about the house that I'm going to be holding open this weekend, because they might think of things that you didn't think of because they're not a real estate agent. Remember to have your goals set. And again, you're going to be spending more time preparing for your event than actually at the event. Let's see, we already said your mindset, setting high goals, achievable goals, removing your limiting belief, focus on your success and believe in yourself. You're all amazing. So just believe that you are. let's see. How many, you always want to know how many leads you intend to get and appointments. And then make sure, the biggest thing is follow-up. You can get everybody's information, but if you're not doing anything with it afterwards, what's the point? Like, you can
True.
just keep putting people in command, be like, I have thousands of people in there, but are you working with any of them or just putting them in there? So about a week before the open house, obviously you want to select your house. Start posting online, walking the neighborhood, inviting the neighbors. I really love the VIP, I guess, of the neighbors.
Exactly.
Inviting them prior to, would you have them invite people too, or
Of
just have them?
course,
Okay.
yeah.
So VIP event for neighbors and their guests or something. I also really love the idea of kind of like a little prize. It doesn't have to be anything big, but getting some kind of incentive of getting people in there. You want a couple times that week before, you want to be posting online, put a sign in the yard with a rider of when you're going to be there. It's up to you if you want to put them around. If you have ones that say when it's going to be, you can put them out early. If not, you can do the morning of. And then right before, post again. And you want to get all your markets down so you can see again what else is on the market, how long they've been on the market for, if there's comparable properties, things like that.
People do ask what has sold in the neighborhood. Do you know what sold in the neighborhood? Sometimes people show up at open houses because they're looking for a listing agent to
Mhm.
see what you do, right? So know your stuff.
When you are door knocking and inviting the neighbors to come early, ask them also what they love about the neighborhood and take notes. People that are living there, they're going to tell you what they love, probably what they hate too. I wouldn't necessarily be spreading that at the open house, but definitely different ideas of why they like their neighborhood. And then it says 93% of buyers do find a house on the internet. So make sure that you are posting online. I love the event idea too,
Yeah,
like a Facebook event. You can invite
a virtual
people,
open
a
house.
virtual open house. And do it like that.
Mhm.
Anybody have any questions about that? There's tons and tons of,
Yeah, I think I would
information
just
there.
reiterate that. Know the house and the neighborhood. So if you've got a house you're gonna do an open house for, that's probably. Let's say it's walking distance to an elementary school. It's got 3 or 4 bedrooms. It's got a
Mhm.
fenced in backyard. It's probably very likely a family house, a young family house, maybe. If you know it's gonna be a family house,
Mhm.
then prepare your open house accordingly. You might want to have a treat for the kids because there'll probably be children coming in.
Mhm.
Just think about those things. Who are the people that are going to be coming? How are you going to appeal to them? How do you make the house look the best? And how do you get the most, really get a big bang for your buck? Is that the right
Mhm.
word? Yeah. If you're going to spend time doing it, make it the best it can be.
Yes, and a lot of those houses, like, you know, the neighborhoods that people want to move into, and it's not just the house, they're buying a lifestyle. They want to move into that community and have those friends and have their kids riding their bike.
Mhm.
Yeah, so just know everything you can about the neighborhood. Again, if there's park nearby, what restaurants people like to go to, what events they usually have in the city, as much information as you can.
Can we talk about how do you dress to have an open house? You're preparing for the open house. You are the professional. You
Mhm.
are the expert. Please show up like that.
Mhm.
Be early, be ready,
Yes.
have a smile on your face, you know? Wear your name tag. Yes, absolutely. Be prepared.
Yes, I always love the saying, dress for the job you want, not the job you have. So
There you go.
dress one step up. on everything.
Absolutely.
Also, like if you're moving or doing an open house in a neighborhood that's still growing, if you can find out information on how many homes, what kind of construction is still going to be going on, those could be some questions as well. And I feel most of those neighborhoods have HOAs. If you can get, I feel like there's usually a lot of questions about that. Are you allowed to have a pool? Are there restrictions on what type of dog you can have? Are you allowed to have a fence? Like, those are usually questions that people have.
Yes, and if, remember, if it's not your listing and you're doing an open house for somebody, and that's what we're recommending that you do, you need to do your homework. If it's in the city of Maple Heights, for example, there's a point of sale in Maple Heights. Make sure you know about that stuff, right? So if there's a, whatever the city local requirements are, make sure you know that as well. You make sure you've read through the residential property disclosure so that you can speak to it.
You will also want to know some things that like some clients may have questions about, financing, mortgage, title, and things like that. You do want to be familiar with that. Keller Mortgage has, I mean, I think it's in our app where you can go on there and have them fill something out if they want. Your lenders that you partner with, if they want to come, a lot of times they'll print something out for you. If you have any questions on there, at least be brushed up on a little bit of the information so you can help them. 'Cause especially first-time home buyers, they have a lot of questions. And like I said, a lot of times you get quite a few people that don't have lenders yet or anything like that. So it's good to help explain them through the process of everything.
There's also an app that I downloaded too, that it's called Carl's Mortgage Calculator, and also like interest, like stuff like that.
Yep.
Mhm.
Boomtown, there's lots of different ones out there that
Mhm.
they can use, but a lender is definitely going to be the best person to connect them with, because they want to get that pre-approval started and done so that they can write an offer. Let me ask you this while we're talking about offers in open houses. If you're setting a goal to get multiple offers, let's say that's one, we're gonna get at least 2 offers on this property. Is it fair to say that offers are due by 8 PM if your open house is from 2 to 4?
No.
Right. Think about that ahead of time. Because you want to give people time to respond and you want to be fair to everybody too.
And I feel like it's a big deal to purchase a house, and it's really hard, especially like, I feel like sometimes when you go on a showing at 4 o'clock and you're like, okay, well, we're presenting offers at 8. Hey, can you give my people like a second to breathe and like really think that's a huge decision? And I have to get home and they have to discuss and like the whole thing, it's a lot of pressure. So if it's, I mean, you have to be fair to the offers that are already in, but if you can give a little time.
What if
Time is of the essence. Well, I mean, like I said, if you've had some offers in for like 2 days or something, those people want to know. But again, go back to them and explain, the sellers do want to have the open house and give the opportunity. There are some people that will pull their deal because they don't want to wait, but again.
In
take
our,
their chance.
you've probably seen in offers, and I think, I'm pretty sure it's also in our offer, it does say time is of the essence in there. And that really means that the dates and we can get into this in another class, but that means that the dates are very important in there, right? That's what it means. It means that you have to pay particular attention to what the dates are in the contract, because you could be out of contract if you miss them. Anyway, go ahead. Sorry.
Nope.
Nope.
No, that was it. That was it on that. Nope, not doing it.
Okay.
All right, so we're gonna go on to.
Preparing for the open house.
Let's say prospecting. Do you want to go over some of
Prospecting.
these? Or,
No, we can just brainstorm. What are some unique things that you do to prepare for? Keitha, you do some great stuff for open
Mhm.
houses. What do you do?
So I definitely scope out the neighborhood at the time.
Scope out the neighborhood ahead of time.
See, is this part of how close it is? What do the other houses look like? And if something else is for sale in the neighborhood, I'm also scoping that out too.
Right?
So I try to do that beforehand, especially if I'm doing one in an area that I don't live in or are familiar with. And then actually at the open house, I I'm always cognizant of where I am in the house and where other people are, that's safety. I don't know if
Right.
we talked about safety.
We did, yeah.
That's, I always keep myself closest to the door and let people kind of roam around and don't stalk people. I don't stalk people either. I'm not following them. I'm not checking what they're doing. I make sure they sign in and then I just ask general questions. And, always have friendly snacks for anybody that may come.
Friendly snacks, yes.
That's it, really.
I had a little kid, and this is no joke. We had an offer that came from an open house because the parents liked the house, but the little boy walked in the door and he goes, "This house smells like Skittles, mommy. Let's buy it." So smells are important as
Yeah,
you're
smells
preparing
are
for
important.
an open house. Have you been to an open house and like every fan is going, the ceiling, the furnace fan is right, it's suspicious. So think about that stuff too. A very strong candle or plug-in, yeah, that's it, plug-in
Mhm.
could, it could,
Yes.
people might say, are you hiding something with that? So be thoughtful about the smells in the house and, lighting a candle is nice. It creates some ambiance, but if it's overpowering, it could be a deterrent.
I know sometimes if it's a vacant home, like it just gets that, depending on how the weather is, you can kind of open it up a little bit while you're turning
Yeah.
on lights and things like that.
Yep.
So what kind of like scent?
Yeah,
think vanilla is always good, or maybe.
just something very mild. If you're
Mild.
going to do it, just mild.
Yeah,
If there's not a problem, don't have anything.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. That's the best. Yeah.
Last. I brought a flyer it was branded to me from a lender and it told what the monthly payment would be with this down payment, this down payment, this down payment, and it like won over the buyers. I got the buyers. They ended up putting an offer on the house with me because of that flyer.
Oh, that's wonderful. Did everybody hear that? They had the lender create a flyer for the open house that talked about the payment and the fees, right?
Yeah.
The payment and the fees, and you were able to pass that out so that people could have an idea what their payment would look like with X amount down, right? Awesome. I love that.
Branded to me.
And branded to you. Perfect.
nice.
Okay.
So I feel very repetitive here, but with the leads and the open house, you're building trust and rapport. They're getting to know you, be personable with everybody that comes in. You want, again, to know all the information that you can, so you're providing a value to everybody that's coming through the house. And then you just want to make sure that you're capturing their information and following up afterwards. I think before I get ahead of myself, I think that's one of the next things, but for building trust and having conversation, you want to greet everybody when they come through the door. Be excited that, like you said, I think you said yesterday, like, welcome, like it's your house, like you're having a guest come over and you want to greet everybody. Ask them what brought them in today. Are you in the market or just kind of checking things out? Are you looking for a home in this neighborhood? Like, have you been looking for a while? Is it like your price range that you're looking in? Have you been looking at the other houses in the area? What would you like to know more about this home, the neighborhood, what's going on in the markets? And if there's any other things about the house that they would like to know. Anybody have any other kind of thoughts of conversation starters?
I asked for feedback too, after
Yes.
they've toured. What do you think?
Mm-hmm,
What did you love? Yeah. What did you love about it?
definitely. I love that.
Yep. Awesome.
Get more information, get them talking.
Mm-hmm,
People like to talk about themselves.
Mhm.
You have to ask the right questions.
yes, asking the right
Yeah.
questions.
And when you ask where they're coming from, or if they're from the community that you're in, then you find out a little bit about where they live now.
Mm-hmm. And if they need to sell before they.
Yeah, well, and if you know their area, that's an opportunity for you to say, oh, the restaurant down the street or something. That's an opportunity for you to demonstrate your own awareness or you know, what you know about that community already.
Mhm. Yes, Ford,
Use
for
your
sure.
Ford, yep, use the Ford in the open house, that's a good point.
I know, I always liked, you mentioned the kids, so when they bring their kids in and everything, I don't know what it is, I love like connecting with the kids and like talking to them, like, what do you think of the house? Like, what bedroom would be yours? And even like we do showings, I get so excited and everything, so. Want to be upbeat, positive, but also like mirror them a little bit if they're like really standoffish and you can just kind of get the feeling that they don't want to talk to you about anything. Don't pressure them. Just let them do their thing. And before they leave, just say, do you have any other questions? And what'd you think of the house? But you don't have to, not everybody's like all excited and bubbly when they come into an open
Remember the
house.
mirror and match? Do that with the people in your open house. Mirror and match. So if they speak slowly, you slow your tone down, right? If they're fast and they're high energy, then you're higher energy too, and you're ready to go. Mirror and match. That's another great way to start building rapport.
Yes. You want to make sure that you're providing value. Again, just know all of your numbers of the neighborhood, know your numbers of your market center, your team, things like that. If there's other houses in the neighborhood that have recently sold, you can kind of go, what they sold for and everything.
If
What-
you've actually toured that house, that's even better. The house that's for sale in the
Mhm.
neighborhood. You went and previewed it yourself, then you have firsthand experience in a conversation about the house that the other house they saw as well.
Mhm. Again, use your app. You can bring that up, have the guests download your app. You can also, it'll help them see what else is on the market in the area, everything like that. I love the raffle idea. So if you're in the area, if there's like a little coffee shop that's local to the area or anything like that, just pop in there and be like, hey, I'm an agent, I'm holding this house open, and I would love to help promote you guys as well. Would you be able to provide like a gift card or anything for me to raffle off here? So it's a win-win for everybody. I mean, everybody wants free advertisement for people.
Karen and
coming in.
Danielle, we've got a comment over here we'd love to jump in with.
Please do.
Hi, I was just tapping into your, just kind of expanding on what you're saying as far as providing value at open houses, but also providing sheets that have information regarding like restaurants nearby, you know, as far as distance too, like elementary and high schools, restaurants, coffee shops, even so much as Target, because everybody loves Target, you know what I mean? And having like the proximity, you know, listed on the sheets too, but I think that's a very valuable
Mhm.
piece of
What
information
would
to
it feel like
provide.
to live here?
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly,
Mhm.
exactly.
Great,
Excellent.
great
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Mhm. I know I love when the sellers kind of like write a little list of things that they love about the house, what they love about the neighborhood and the area if they're moving, and you can share that with people. But I love that idea of how far
Yes.
everything is. So we'll go over a little bit again about how to make sure that you're capturing the leads, your sign-in sheet. Again, ask them to fill that out, ask that the seller is requesting that you have everybody's information that comes through just for safety reasons and things like that. Use command if you have like an iPad or your laptop or something. Use your app you can download. I know you can also do like a little QR code for your app and everything. So you can have one of those made up and just have it sitting out so people can download it real quick. Make sure you're asking questions so you can kind of weed out if there's somebody that's just kind of looking, you still want them in your database, but you can kind of tag them differently than if somebody is really looking to purchase. And then just remember your goal in there is to get the leads and appointments and get them in your database.
As you're talking and you're building rapport and you're asking questions, see if you can find out their motivation. What's their motivation for moving?
And
You can write that down. Your sign-in sheet.
Oh, yeah.
yes.
I go back and put notes all the time.
Oh, yes. I definitely take that sheet off, write my notes, because I like to think that I have a good memory, but there's a lot in here and it gets lost. So you have a great conversation with somebody and then they leave and you start talking to somebody else and you're like, what did they just say? So I'm like, write your little note and then take that sheet off. So the next person isn't like seeing that they're what your notes are about them.
I made my sign-in as simple as possible, where it's their name, their phone number, and an email address, and then tried to do check boxes, looking for, so that they aren't bombarded with a lot of things to write down on the sign-in. And I do ask online, are you working with a realtor, yes or no, and their name, so that when somebody says yes, and then doesn't write down a name, that's my in the conversation to say, could you please give me the name or the company your realtor works for, so that I can reach out to them after the open house and let them know you were here. And that way, if they don't give you a name, then they're just saying yes, because they just don't want to be solicited versus they actually have to. And I do write on the back, as soon as people walk away, like maybe what they were wearing underneath where their name was, so that I can recall in my brain.
That's a
who
good
they were.
idea.
So I'll like put the sheet over, write down what they were wearing, so I can remember what couple was who.
And use we talked about having your phone in your hand the whole time. Use your notes app. You can just quickly say their names and then a quick note, just speak it into your phone and then you've got it. Just title that one open house with the address and the date. Easy way to keep track of your notes, so you don't have to go back and put them, if you don't want to put them on the sheet where everybody is seeing, like you might.
Yeah.
Pardon me? Perfect, yeah. Yep.
I do like the check boxes. I feel like it's less to fill out.
Take a lot. Especially when they want to omit some information, then that way, especially the realtor part, people mark yes all the time, but never know a person.
No, yep.
I like check boxes too, if they're just looking, or if they're looking in like the next 3 months to purchase within the next year. So like if they sometimes have like a time frame of when they're looking, and it helps you kind of keep notes of that. I do like you said the Ford questions. Why are they looking? When are they looking? Where is this the only specific area that they're looking in, or if they're open to other areas and things like that? And again, it's all about building the relationship. So after, let's see, run pursuing, if you want to make notes on 7.12. So after the open house, again, so the biggest thing is you get the information, you took all this time to prepare for the open house. Now the open house is over. So you want to make sure you're following up with the people. I try, so if you have your open house in the morning, call them that evening, just say, I just want to thank you for coming through the open house today, see if they had any other questions, if they had any interest, if there was any other houses that they happened to drive by that they were interested in seeing, that you can help them. What kind of things would you ask when you call somebody after an open house?
I use a script actually, and I text. You know, for complete honesty, honest feedback for the listing. Did you love it, hate it, in between? If you have a few moments, I'd love to hear your thoughts, that kind of stuff.
I like that. And I feel like a lot of times there's people don't answer their phones as much. So if you can text, I think it's one of those commercials like Don't Turn Into Your Parents, where people like they leave the message and they're like, don't do that. Just send a text, like, because nobody does that anymore. But I feel like you get a quicker response and people actually respond back to you if you text. But I like that. It's like almost like a form, like after a showing, that they get sent and everything.
I write down the feedback too. So if they say that the 4th bedroom isn't big enough because they need to put 2 bunk beds in it, I make a note of that. When I go back home, if they're unrepresented, then I might look on the MLS real quick and see something and just call them back with that. Hey, I was thinking about you because there's another house that's in the next neighborhood over that's for sale, and it's got 4 bedrooms and all the bedrooms are, I think, the right size. How about if we go look at that? Take advantage of that opportunity.
Make sure afterwards, if you haven't already, make sure you're putting them in command, all those notes that you were writing down, make sure you put those in there, tag them correctly. You can put them on a campaign if they're looking in the future. I like to put in there in a note that I met them at whatever open house it was, because again, I forget things easily. And then also when you're reaching out to them, if they hadn't already downloaded your app, you can encourage them to do that too. And so.
Awesome.
you're
We
moving
have
right
an
along.
activity.
Yeah.
Okay.
So on 7.13, you are going to plan your future open house.
So if you're in groups, remember that your notes are going to be for the open house that'll probably be in your area, the one that you want to have. That could be an open house you're doing for someone else. Could be a listing that you have coming up. It might be a for sale by owner and you call them up and say, hey, I'd like to find a buyer for your house. May I do an open house at your house this Sunday? Oh, yeah. Yep, absolutely. You can do that. So think about what open house you want to have, complete the activity. We're going to take 5 minutes, write your notes on page 7.13, and we'll be back in 5 minutes.
Okay. I'm a fast talker.
Okay, we are back. 1, 2, 3, shh. Thank you. Okay, go ahead, Danielle.
All right, does anybody want to share anything that they came up with their
Preparing for your open
preparing
house.
for your
Any,
open house?
any challenges or good ideas, Janice? What?
You look like you were thinking.
She had a look like she had a thought.
I try to always have somebody with me, number one.
You always have somebody with you? Okay,
I get there at least 30 minutes early.
30 minutes early.
So I can tour the house, make sure that if it's occupied, make sure there's nothing like, if it's kids, make sure the toys are put away, whatever. I just run through the house real quick and make sure that there's nothing that's gonna be an eyesore. And then I always do a Facebook Live before I allow people coming in.
Good,
People know where I'm at.
good.
I have literally had to vacuum carpets before an open house. I mean, so it can happen. You never know. Get there early.
I know, make sure, like, put your toothbrush away and like, make sure the bathroom's clean, toilet seats down and like, all of that. So after your open house, you want to kind of go back of what your goals were and take a look and see how many appointments did you plan on getting? How many did you get? Do you feel that your open house was successful? And what could you have done differently? And like, make sure you're keeping notes so you can change what you're doing for the future and your next ones.
What worked really well?
Yes, maybe like the time or day, things like that.
Your feedback?
Yes, feedback is really good. Make sure you're giving that feedback to the sellers as well. And touch base with them. A lot of them, make sure you're telling them how it went, how many people you had come through, what your feedback was, what the interest kind of seemed like. Because they want to know if they're leaving their house for 2 hours, they want to know what happened when they were gone.
If you have an agent that shows up with a client at your open house and they haven't registered the showing, I would say, hey, I'm going to go ahead and register you in with showing time as a showing. That way you can provide feedback that I can share with the seller. Okay, so you can register an agent that, because sometimes they do just show up. They're out showing houses. They want to squeeze one more in. So yours is open and it's a 2-hour window. Sometimes they don't schedule it.
So now that you have your plan of what you're going to do at your open house, if you don't have one set up, where are you going to get that open house from? So we talked about the MLS, looking and seeing in your office who has new listings. And like we said, if there's, if it's a busy agent that's not doing open houses or anything like that, reach out to them, build that relationship with them, let them know, hey, I saw that you just had this listing come up. Do you have an open house scheduled? Can I hold one for you?
Do you know how to find the listings in your office? On the MLS? Okay, yeah, sure. So, I'm not gonna pull it up here because I know it'll take time, because when we're on Zoom together in the MLS or Command, it goes really slow for some reason. But I can share that on the MLS, up at the top where it says home and then search, you look for office in the drop down. It says office. You type in your office number, KW Living's office number is 9181. And your office will come up. And on the right-hand side, there's a clickable link that says active listings. And it will pull up your office's active listings, and you'll be able to see everything in there that you need.
Basically go through there. What city are you looking for? What price point are you looking for? See whose it is and call them up. Chances are they're going to say, yes, please hold it open. They would love that. I know we touched on right before break about for sale by owners. A lot of times when you're calling for sale by owners, they don't necessarily want you to sell their house, but a lot of them will agree to, if you bring them a buyer, they'll pay you commission. Ask them, would it be okay if I were to hold an open house for you? And any buyer that comes in, I'll represent them. And
Oftentimes for sale by owners are now willing, mostly, to pay a buyer commission. They won't have to pay pay the listing side. So it's really half the commission or less.
So is there something that they sign?
There is a form.
I think so.
Well,
And
if you're gonna represent them, of course, there's a form. But if you're gonna bring a buyer through, you want to get them to commit to paying the buyer commission. Yes, there's a form in the loop for that. Mark, did you have something you wanted to say, or somebody's barking?
No, that wasn't me. It was someone else.
Okay, sorry.
Like,
Liability, how,
we're in the house without.
Oh, if something happens while you're in the house.
We have
Mm.
I know, I don't know.
I don't know, they might want to be there. That's number one.
Mhm.
But you could, I mean, we'll have to look at the open house or whatever, but you might want to deal with that up front if that's a concern.
That's not our-
Yeah, yep. Yep, I never thought of that, but you could definitely have something in writing from them that they're giving you permission. Yeah, because you can't, even if you have the listing, you can't be held responsible for if somebody takes something, right? I mean, but we have a document that protects us. Yeah. Yep.
For sale by owner. You're not being hired to do anything, so you there at your own risk. But as an agent, you still want to protect you? Yeah, but I'm just saying, if you do
So-
that, you working at your own risk.
So for me, I might invite the seller to be there because I want to create a relationship with them. Because if they can't get their house sold, I want them to be so comfortable with me that I'm the first person that they call.
Right.
So it might not be a bad idea to have them there. I mean,
They say something happened and then.
Yep.
Sue KW and everybody, you know what I'm saying? Lawsuits are on the rise for anything right now, so.
mhm.
We may wanna talk to. I will be here, I asked them to be there, like she said. But still, even with them there, you still want something else to protect you. Cause they can say anything, use your word against them.
Interesting. To ask. I don't know, Rick or
So where are
somebody.
you gonna find open houses? So rather than posting on your private Facebook page in your office that you are open and available to do an open house, what's another way that you can reach out to people? Create a relationship with your top performers in your office, right? Spend some time with them, let them know, build rapport with them, right? So when you call them up and you say, hey, can I do an open house for you this weekend? What are they gonna say? What are they gonna ask you? Which property? Most likely, which property? When do you want to do it? So you have to be, because they have to go get permission from their seller, right? So you need to be on top of it, already have a plan, maybe at least a partial plan in place when you go to that person. You have to know the neighborhood. How are you going to demonstrate to that top performer that if you hold an open house, you're gonna represent, right? Kitsa.
On the flip side of that, you have to also be prepared. This is something I was not prepared for, was for no response. Sometimes people are too busy and they can't respond to you, or they just don't know you if you're new. And you have to be willing to realize that they have to protect their seller and they have to protect their business. And if they don't know you, why would they just trust somebody they don't know to do an open house? So in my situation, how I overcame that was by saying, hey, can I hold this open house for you? By the way, here's the flyer I'm gonna use. I already made it and sent it to them. Here's some pictures of how I would set up my table so that you could see that I have your buyers or your sellers' interests so that they know that you are gonna come prepared to an open house. Show them what you're willing to do for their seller, especially if you're somebody that nobody knows because you're new. So that way, putting yourself on the Facebook page, I did a whole series for a while. Everybody knows that, that's one here. I did a whole series for a while. I have this little like pizza has your keys gimmick because my name's Pizza. And I showed people what I could do marketing wise for their client.
Yep.
And that way, when they don't know who you are, they can see what you're capable of before you actually hold an open house. Because people are busy. And people don't know you and they're protective of their clients, and you have to keep that in mind.
100%. And always give a kudos to the listing agent. So if you're posting it on social media, I want to thank Keitsa for allowing me to hold her listing open this weekend. I'm looking to find a buyer to help her sell that house. Who's interested, who's looking for this beautiful house or whatever your marketing is. You want to make sure you also promote their listing and them as a listing agent, so there's no confusion about it. Got to get their permission.
Mhm.
Got to get their permission.
Yes.
So where else can you find or some other ideas for open houses? Elevate, do you want to contribute here or anything that you've got that comes to mind? Where to find open houses?
We talked about emailing agents that have listings, to see if they would be willing to keep it open, to do an open house.
Yep. Listings that have been on the market for a while and haven't had, or maybe one of the questions you ask the seller is, are you planning to do a decrease in the price? Are you planning to lower the price? Because you want to plan around that, right? Yeah, absolutely.
Mhm. Yeah, because
Okay.
you're getting a whole new pool of buyers. It'll pop up in their price
Yeah.
range when you get the little decrease in the
Maybe
price.
maybe you saw that there's going to be an open house next weekend in that neighborhood where the listing is at and said, hey, I don't know if you know this, but there's going to be another open house this weekend where your listing's at. I would love to hold yours open at the same time. How's that sound?
Mhm.
Definitely.
You can also, call for sale by owners and offer open houses for them.
Yep.
I was just gonna say,
Michael?
if you do a price decrease prior to the open house, put it in the MLS remarks, so people, when gets refreshed, they'll see open house on Saturday or Sunday. It's like the first thing that they see.
Mhm.
The
Instead
no-
of
the
just in the
notice-
supplements,
Yeah.
put like a note in the broker's
Put a
remark.
note
Well,
in
no,
the
not
broker's
the-
remark.
I'm-
Or in the-
Public.
oh, public
People
remark,
that
okay.
look at it See it. It's like, it's not hidden
Mhm.
whatsoever.
For some reason, I'm thinking the MLS does not allow us to put the open house in the description. Is that true, Mark? Do you know?
I've done it.
Have you?
And it's at the top too.
You're allowed to do that?
I'm pretty sure that's not a problem.
Okay, good.
I know we're not allowed to say like title companies or anything like that we want to use, but I
Yeah.
don't know if it's. Yeah.
In that area. I have one, and I called me and the other agent actually talked, so we sent people, because it was only 2 houses in the whole city on at one time, so we like sent between the two. You know, people came over here, this is too big for you, then I sent them over there, you have a smaller house, it may suit you and vice versa.
Right. So you communicate with the other agents that have listings in the area.
Yeah.
Absolutely. The more attention you could draw to the area, more reason for those people to come to the neighborhood, the more traffic you're going to get in your open house.
Mhm. Building the relationships.
Yes.
All right, so set a goal for the next 2 weeks. Hold at least one open house. And go back to your plan of what you're gonna do and your notes and do all your legwork ahead of time and make it as successful as possible.
If you can't do a live open house, consider asking to do a virtual open house for somebody. Okay, so try to fit in, and it's a great way for a new agent to start too. I mean, the more houses you tour and preview, the better acquainted you're gonna be. And your confidence and your comfort level is gonna be when you have your first open house, so. Ask for a shadow opportunity also. If somebody's having an open house in your the area that you want to work, or it's an agent that you would like to learn from, ask them, may I shadow? I'm not asking for buyers. I'm not asking for sellers. I just want to shadow and see how you do an open house.
Oh,
So look for that also. Michael,
I was just gonna say, everyone should sign up for list reports.
list reports.
Yeah, so it's a free service, and they'll generate brochures for you. And I know people talked about knowing what's in proximity of the house. It'll create a map of like how far is the gym, how far are the grocery stores and that type of thing. And just give you a 1-page.
Oh.
brochure. But it's list reports.
Listreports.com?
Yes, list report.
Listreports.com. Check it out, everybody. It sounds very interesting. Is it AHA's time?
It's time.
All right, it's time for AHA. So how many appointments do you intend to get out of the open house? How many you got, how many, oh, this is after you've already had the open, sorry about that, I'm on the wrong page. Ahas. Okay, go ahead, Danielle.
So what is your biggest takeaway? We'll go there. What is your biggest takeaway from something you are gonna implement right away after this of your open houses? Anybody? I want one of those too. The guard dog, taser flashlight.
Hey, TLs, why don't we take a 5-minute here, talk about your AHAs, then we'll come back and talk about them together. Okay? All right, 5 minutes. Okay, we are back. All right, so let's start with legacy this time. What'd you guys come up with? Ahas.
We kind of did rapid fire through a lot of the things we've talked about. So the guard dog was a great takeaway, trying different times with the twilight, having good giveaways. Yeah, nothing
Excellent.
earth shattering beyond what's been discussed already.
Excellent. How about you, Elevate?
Our ahas were, one was the significance of why open houses are important and how you can use it to lead gen. Two, we had talked about for sign-in sheets, I have a book that you can get on Amazon for a sign-in sheet. It's an open house sign-in sheet rather than just printing off separate sign-in sheets. That's why you can keep them all together always, and you can use it to lead generate in the future. So we talked about that being an aha, and then some of the safety things were also some big ahas.
Awesome, awesome. And I wrote down a couple that we did the same thing, rapid fire. So the branded lender letter was one that came up. Communicating with other agents, virtual open house, and the guard dog, of course. Yeah, the guard dog flashlight
Mhm.
zapper
I
deal.
know. Amazon's gonna sell out of those, I think.
Yeah, no doubt. Okay, well, that wraps up for today. Next week, Elevate is hosting, and we'll start with section 8 next week. So it's Thursday. That means that you have through the weekend to get caught up with the exercises that are in the book that we didn't do in class together, or just go back and review your notes, because the more you do it, the better you're going to get at it. So, Michael Phelps, everybody know who Michael Phelps is? Michael Phelps said that he doesn't take a day off from practicing because he has to get his head back in the game every time he stops to take a break. So he said he knows every lap that there are 17 these things, strokes and each lap. And so one time when he was swimming, he said his goggles got filled with water and he couldn't see, but because he knew it was 17, he was counting and could flip and get back to the other and finish the race and win. So the point is, if you do it and practice over and over, it becomes second nature and you're going to know. So good luck, everybody. Practice away, and we'll see you next week.